Good morning and welcome to State of Texas In Depth. I'm Josh Hinkle. This morning we're talking all about the Texas Tribune Festival. KXAN is an official partner of the Texas Tribune for the festival, which kicks off next Friday at the University of Texas. The event features more than 50 panels with 250 speakers taking on all sorts of Texas political topics. This will be the festival's 6th year, and it's grown into a key stop not only for Texas politics, but also for the people on the national political stage. This year's Trib Fest kicks off with Ohio Governor John Kasich, one of the top candidates in the Republican presidential primaries. Governor Kasich will answer questions from Texas Tribune co-founder and CEO Evan Smith. He joins us now for a closer look at the festival. Welcome.
Hi, Josh.
So 6 years. How does this one compare to the rest?
Well, of course it's the biggest, and of course it's the best, and even if that were not true, that's what I'd be telling you. It happens to be true in this case. It's the biggest lineup, the most speakers, the most sessions, the most immediate and pressing conversations, and it has the most national and international scope. We're not only focused on Texas, we're focused on all the problems of the country and the world as they impact the state of Texas.
You know, you say it's the biggest one yet.
Yep.
Why is it important to have things like this? I mean, is it just people are interested in politics, or do you get lawmakers interested in what?
Well, let me get all mission-centric on you, Josh. Look, the fact is there need to be more conversations of this sort happening not only in Austin, but in communities around the state of Texas. We have basically checked out as a state. We're not talking about public education, healthcare, immigration, transportation, all the big public policy challenges that we in Austin and every place else in Texas faces. We've basically stopped talking about. The only way to solve those problems, to move people at our legislature in Austin or in Congress to deal with them, is if we as members of the communities talk about them. This event is the biggest possible opportunity over 3 days to talk about the challenges we face and to look for solutions, not just to complain.
Well, we love being your media partner, you know, throughout the year and with the festival.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been every single year, and it's always exciting and different. What exciting things do people have to look forward to this year?
Well, you know, we have a lot of conversations around 2016. Of course, this dumpster fire of a political season is endlessly entertaining for all of us in journalism. It would be funny if it wasn't so serious. And so we're bringing some of the players in the 2016 campaign together to talk about this race. Governor Kasich of Ohio, who was one of the last Republicans in the race. Ted Cruz, our junior United States Senator, but who ran for president and made a lot of waves at the Republican National Convention when he declined to endorse Donald Trump. We have Gary Johnson, the Libertarian candidate for president, on the ballot in all 50 states. And we have the independent candidate, Evan McMullin, not on the ballot in all 50 states, but trying to provide an alternative. So that's 4 people running for president in the 2016 cycle right there. But of course, we have so many of the state's elected leaders. We have so many members of Congress representing various communities in Texas. We have big city superintendents. We have college presidents and chancellors. We have transportation leaders. We have immigration experts. We have really, I describe this as the Austin City Limits Music Festival for nerds. This is basically 3 days of conversations. It's not going to see Radiohead, but it is going to see the people who make big policy decisions and affect the outcome for all of us of these big fights. And I just think to isolate out one thing that would be exciting to me, it might not be the same one thing that's exciting to you. There's something here for everybody.
So you said you were going to be hosting or moderating 8 different things?
Over the course of the weekend, I'll be interviewing 8 different people or leading 8 different conversations. It's possible I'll start asking Ted Cruz the John Kasich questions and Evan McMullin the Tim Dunn questions. I mean, the reality is I'll try to keep it straight.
So you've done a lot of interviews with the Texas Tribune Festival in the past. What has been your favorite and why?
Well, you know, I'm a big Governor Perry fan. It's not just about his mediocre dancing, which I can probably claim as a skill myself, mediocre dancing of late. Look, Governor Perry was as transparent as they come. Governor Perry gave as good as he got. He was extremely willing to be engaged in a conversation like this one. And over the many years of the Tribune and the many years before that, when I had the honor to run Texas Monthly, I got to sit down with Governor Perry many, many times. We developed a rapport, and talking to him at the 2014 Texas Tribune Festival, effectively the exit interview that he gave on his last lap as governor was one of my favorite things we ever did. But, you know, honestly, there's no such thing as a bad interview, because you can always have the opportunity to sit down with somebody, talk through big challenges, and come away learning something more aware, smarter. And for the audience coming to see those interviews, the key for them is the same. They want to come away smarter, better informed. they leave knowing more than they did when they came in, and that's always the goal for our events.
And I remember Perry's interview was kind of funny too. So it's entertaining.
Yes, it was entertaining. Well, you know, the best interviews are the ones that are entertaining. We try not to be boring, Josh, just like the nightly news. We try not to be boring.
All right. Well, thank you for making time for us. I
Sure
appreciate
thing.
it.
Josh, good to see you. Thank you.
All right. You can still get tickets to the festival. For more information about the speakers, the sessions, and how to register, we have a link in the politics section of KXAN.com. One track at the Trib Fest focuses on education. Find out how that's drawing in the head of the Austin School District and the message he plans to bring to the festival.
We're going to make sure that we don't do things the way we used to do them.
Settling for change, how an agreement to end a lawsuit over a woman's death in a Texas jail could lead to important changes around the state. Coming up on State of Texas. The arrest and death of Sandra Bland made headlines last year, and now a settlement in a lawsuit is bringing new attention to the case.
Get out of the car!
And then you
I will light you up! Get out!
Wow.
Now!
Sandra Bland was arrested in July of 2015 after a DPS trooper pulled her over in Hempstead for not using her turn signal. She was found dead in her jail cell 3 days later. Investigators say she killed herself. Her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against both the DPS and Waller County. Lawyers for the Bland family announced Thursday they reached a $1.9 million settlement, but Bland's mother says this is about more than money.
I believe that there is literally going to be a change drastically across the country. It may not come tomorrow, it may not come next month, it may not come next week, but I believe this now is going to spearhead other people saying, no, you don't get a chance to just give me a couple of dollars. No, 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 no. Now you have to hold your people accountable.
Lawyers say the settlement includes changes to jail procedures to ensure better monitoring of inmates. Bland's family is also pushing for statewide legislation to improve training for jail workers. Ahead on State of Texas, sports stars and pop stars. We'll look at how some special speakers are bringing their unique perspectives to this year's Trib Fest and looking for lessons beyond the classroom. We'll hear how Austin's school superintendent plans to make a mark on the festival. Welcome back to a special edition of State of Texas In Depth. This week we're focusing on the Texas Tribune Festival. It starts next Friday at the University of Texas and features 250 speakers taking on all sorts of topics. And it's not just politics. Olympic gold medalist and former Longhorn track star Sonia Richards-Ross will join the festival Saturday morning. She's part of a panel looking into big-time college sports. Cyclist and cancer survivor Lance Armstrong will also take part in a Saturday morning session. He's joining a discussion about finding a cure for cancer. And musician Phil Collins will join Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush on a panel called The Remaking of the Alamo. Collins' childhood fascination with Davy Crockett led him to become a collector of Alamo artifacts. The festival has several tracks. Those are basically a series of panels on a single subject. One big track at the Trib Fest focuses on public and higher education. That includes a session on grading the STAR test featuring the state lawmakers, members of the State Board of Education, and the head of the group calling for changes to the way the state tests students. That's followed by a session looking at the best practices from the best charter schools in Texas. Another session looks at paying for higher education. That panel features 3 state lawmakers, along with Texas Tech Chancellor Robert Duncan and UT President Greg Fenves. One panel on public education will feature Austin ISD Superintendent Dr. Paul Cruz. Dr. Cruz is here with a preview. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So why are you doing this panel?
I think it's so important to talk about education, to also specifically speak about the urban school experience. That's important, and so this panel will include many urban school superintendents.
And I know that right now one of the big approaches that AISD is talking about is how to address desegregation in schools in the district.
Absolutely. So we're looking right now at, we've actually administered and conducted a self-assessment around equity to look at our practices around student performance, look at our practices about inclusion in different programs, because we want to make sure we are providing every youngster with a strong academic foundation.
And is that something you feel like these other superintendents, you guys can learn from each other?
Absolutely. You know, we do dialogue at many points in time throughout the school year and different, you know, have different connections. But it's something that's important to every school superintendent, making sure that all students achieve excellence. But in urban school system, we're also looking at diversity of our student body, our student group.
Now, you were with the district for a while in other capacities, and now being a newer superintendent, what's that like, having a different role where you're in charge?
Well, really, I've been in Austin for a while. I first stepped foot in here coming in back in '83. So I've lived here in Austin since 1983 for undergraduate school, and then came back. You know, for me, it's really about those strong relationships and getting to know people in Austin ISD and in the city of Austin who are willing to step up to the plate and help us in public school education.
What about the quality of teaching at schools? How are you guys really looking at that and trying to hone in on improving the quality of teachers?
Well, it is absolutely true that for students to learn, we need a strong teacher in every single classroom, and that's the core of the work. So what we do is, of course, in our hiring practices, hire individuals who understand our communities, understand our students, but also then provide professional development along the way throughout the school year around literacy, around equity, around identifying student issues and student performance. That's important, but it's continuous professional development.
Now, school finance is something that the district and all districts across Texas have had to deal with in recent years, and now that we're going into a new legislative session, it's still going to be a hot topic, even though we've gone through the legal battle and the Supreme Court has weighed in on it. What do you think is going to happen in the upcoming session? Well,
of course, there's no telling, right? But for us, as an urban school system with you know, over 83,000 students, we're 60% poverty. We're also considered a property wealthy district. And this year, our projection is that we're going to send to the state $406 million of recapture, what's considered Robin Hood. And that's significant funding, significant part of the tax base here in Austin that goes to the state and doesn't stay here to educate our students here in Austin ISD.
And what are parents telling you about that?
Well, many times it's about getting the word out there so that folks understand that property values are going up, more paying into taxes, but it really is that that money doesn't necessarily stay here. It actually goes to the state level. And it's really informing parents about that. And many parents don't know that's actually what's happening.
There will be a lot of lawmakers at this festival. Are you hoping to bump into any of them and share any of those opinions with them?
Absolutely. So we have our key points ready, because we've been studying recapture for many years and looking at the impact that it's been having on our school system. So we are ready, and of course we do meet with our delegation, been very supportive of our work, and we're fortunate to have them, but it's also telling so many others about the Austin ISD story.
And how's this school year going for you so far?
Things are going well. It's a large school system, always a lot going on, but I think it's exciting when we look at our student performance results and we look at where we're headed in the future and making sure that we're striving every single day towards excellence.
Great. Dr. Cruz, thank you for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Remember, the place to go for tickets and the lineup is texastribune.org/festival. We also have a link in the politics section of KXAN.com. Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas in Depth. Remember, you can join us every Sunday morning in the 8:30 half hour for a broader look at Texas.